welcome to podcast 191 of 5 Star Potential, your weekly Football Manager podcast. I'm Matt, and on this week's pod, I'm joined by Curty, Dave, Dupe, and Mad, where we'll be talking about the next chapter of Dupe's Achievement Hunter series.
And you may have heard of Kevin De Bruyne's new position, the free 8. So this week, we're going to be talking about training players in new positions to get the best out of them and your system.
But before we do that, we will be talking to Dupe about his next adventure. Well, obviously we've got a bit of France news as well, but he does have something else to say before we get on to the save update.
Yeah, I need to publicly address something that's happened, probably in the last 4 weeks that I'm not happy about, I'm not proud of, but I feel this is probably the best platform for me to do this. It takes a lot of courage for me to do this, so it's going to be quite difficult for me to say, but during the time I've had at Red Star, I've not been completely honest. It's a total misjudgment, and I didn't mean to do this, but I've not been as honest as I should have been. This is difficult. Previously, when talking about my relationship with Paris Saint-Germain, I have stated very proudly and very loudly that I have been completely unbeaten against them. However, it pains me to say this isn't the case, and unfortunately, it has come to my attention that it turns out we've done 3 seasons in Liga and not 2, and the first season we very much were in the fucking mud with them. So I'd just like to take this time to apologise to a few people. One, you guys at home. Apologies to you if you looked up to me as something that I'm not. Firstly, I'd like to apologise to you guys, the host, Matt. I've kind of just thrown this all up the shitter, really. And then mainly, I'd like to apologise to Mad FM. I've made him feel smaller than he is. I've belittled him. I've made him feel that his save is just not where it needs to be, and he's the real star in France. Thank you, Matthew.
That took real courage, dude.
Takes a big man to belittle another man, too.
It seems like I'm the only one out of the loop here, so I'm just going to...
Well, if you turned up to pods, you'd be fine, mate.
I was going to say, well, I've just got to fit you in my streaming schedule now. But what the fuck are you talking about?
Did you not listen to the pods at all then, no? I mean, this is awkward. Okay, so what's happened is when we've spoken about my save in the past, I have stated that I've never been beaten by PSG.
Well, it wasn't even that, Dupe. It was you were innocently asking me how was I doing against PSG, knowing full well I've not done great, and you in your head you've not lost to them. So let's just get the facts right if we're going to do things.
100%, no, 100%, and I have teased and I have taken the mickey, and a hand on heart, like I genuinely, I mean, I know I may have gone a little bit over the top with the apology, the announcement video, the video is out on YouTube very shortly. But for me, I don't remember losing to them. Like, I don't remember this first season syndrome where we lost quite heavily at times. Since then, we haven't lost, in the 4 games that have followed. But yeah, I genuinely found it. We clicked on the past meetings previously on a stream, must have been Saturday night, Sunday night, and the horror on my face when I saw it, and I was like, I have to say something. I have to come out and I have to say it, because I have done it with my chest and I have pumped it out and I've gone, look at me, I've not lost, but I have twice.
Well, aside from that rather disappointing, illuminative statement,
Chief.
I mean that's pretty does sum it up. Apart from that, winning still by cheating, etc. How's it been going since in France? Obviously, we did hear quite a lot about it last week. Mad's save update, but I take it things are coming to an end.
I'm in a very sticky position. We are closing the gap to PSG. So first season we were 52 points behind them. Second season, we were 19 points behind them, and we have just finished season 8, so we're going into season 9 now, and we finished 6 points behind them. They are relentless. They are winning machines. You can just grind results out, and you drop a point, and they're winning. Like, I have spent as much physical money as I possibly can. I've sold a lot of players that have drawn money in, but like when you go through and you just see that, like, they are dropping like 320 million, 355 million, 250 million. You know, that's the last 3 seasons alone.
Is this going to be another Imagine My Shot Dukes talking about not having any money?
No, we've had money. Like we like. So what I've done is, to be honest, is going through this save. Is I've been very conscious of our finances. I didn't want to do what I've done at Leeds, for example, where I've just put the club in an absolute mud for me just to have short-term success. I knew this would be a long-term thing. So all the way through, you know, I've not bought many players. I've got them in on freeze. And as soon as we've sold a player, I have not reinvested it in the squad. I've reinvested it in the structure of the club, like the facilities, the youth facilities, the trainer facilities, the scouting network, coaching staff. And I'm trying to make what we have better. And then selling them on. For example, in tonight's stream just gone, I sold my one of my strikers, who I purchased from Peru for £1 million, and I've just sold him for 50 million 2 seasons later. So we have the ability of bringing these youngsters in, and we earn our money that way. And that's all I can spend is what I sell, to be fair. But we sell a player every season, and we've managed to get the money in. Last season, I don't know how we managed to do it, but we managed to sell another striker that I bought for 725k. 18 months later, Genk come in for 25 million. You know, so we are able to turn it around. It's just we have to sell before we buy. But we're buying great talent. You know, I mean, you look at my first 11, we're like Wonder Kid FC. We've just got wonder kids from everywhere in our starting 11. That's not going to win you a league. That's not going to win you the league now. It might win you the league in 3 seasons' time. But do we have 3 seasons' time? I don't know. We did really well in the Champions League last year, our debut season. We finished second in our group. We played Barcelona on the final day of our group. If we would have beat Barcelona, we'd have gone through top. But we rested a few players because we had a big game against PSG next. And we knew that all we had to do was better Tottenham's result, and we did. And we went through second, beat Bayern Munich 6-4 on aggregate over the 2 legs, and then we lost 6-4 to Bayern Munich to Barcelona in the quarters, which, to be fair, wasn't terrible. And we're just about to find out our group for this year. I think we've got 2 seasons left. I think we're going to do this one and then one more. The problem I've got is what we'll kind of touch upon later, but I can only afford youngsters that are going to do us business. They're going to do the business later on in life. But do we have that later on in life is my main issue.
You finished second in your last season?
Correct, yeah, second.
How are Leon doing? Because I know on my save, and I'm about the same timeline as you, we're just kicking into season 9. But for me, it's of course PSG, right? Impossible. But like Leon have actually won the league at least once, definitely once, maybe twice, and have been thereabouts like frequently throughout the save. Are they in contention in yours, or are you kind of like hacking into second? Because I can't break into the top 2; it's third all the way.
No, Leon won it 5 seasons ago. They're the only team since we started the save to win it, apart from PSG. Last season they drew on the final day, and I won on the final day for me to go 2 points clear of them.
Are you sure you won, or do you just think you won?
No, I saw that one. So we finished on Leon finished on 80 points. We finished on 82. PSG finished on 88.
Nice.
So we have kind of like curbed. Like the season before, they were on 99 points. The season before that, they finished 110 points. PSG did. You know, so we are kind of curbing that. And I feel that the other teams are getting better. For example, Brest are doing really well. For a long time, Brest were well up there. They were top of the league till probably February, before they started to sag down.
Brilliant.
Are you,
Well done.
Are you not going to get bombed anyway? I mean, you got a takeover coming.
So we had a takeover right at the end of last season. Thanks for keeping up, Cody. That's really thanks for that, man. I'm surprised that, to be fair. Yes, we were very close to losing our job, solely due to the fact that the consortium. We had two consortiums want to take over the club. Basically, the board want us to get rid, which is why they're not giving me any money, but they just want to sell. And we had two consortiums come in. One was happy with me. One wanted to get rid of me and get a new high-profile manager in. The one that wanted to keep me pulled the plug very early into the takeover talks, and it went down to literally like the final day, the final knock-ins, and then the second consortium pulled out, and I managed to keep my job. I signed a brand new contract there and then for 5 years, which means nothing really when they take over. And he's still actively looking to get rid of to sell the club. So I don't even know whether we'll make it to the end of the season.
I think I've had a takeover rumor for every season, in every year, every season, and it still hasn't happened. Never got that far, thankfully, about nearly losing the job. But every season there's rumors and consortiums, and then it just goes away. So it's weird what happens in France. I don't know what the story is.
I'm assuming the finances aren't great for everybody in France. PSG. Oh, I took a picture of it because I was absolutely shocked. So the money, the sponsorship money, is crazy. So I think PSG had 198 million pounds worth of sponsorship in one season, and they were top of the league. And I was bottom of the sponsorship league, and I had 2.18 million sponsorship for the season. Mm-hmm. So like the money for PSG, they are way and above beyond everyone else. Yet, they just don't seem to be as far ahead as I would like to be. Tuchel's just left, so he's been there since day one. We're on the older database, not the updated. And he's just left to go to Liverpool. And they have just put in charge of them Francis Coquelin. I was favourite to go for the job. Nice. They asked me about it. I said no, flat refused. And they've just hired Francis Coquelin, who has been manager of Paris FC and Lille for the last season.
The time has almost come to an end. Well, until you're moving on to your next club.
It's time to go.
Where would this rank in regards to this or Palermo? Which one's better for you?
Oh, 100% Palermo.
Or do you think this has still got some life in it, maybe either later on this year or offline?
It's a really good segue to kind of where I could talk about where we go next, right?
I'm here all week, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Well done. Apart from Saturday, because you're busy. I think, to be honest, it's got life, it's got legs, and if I didn't have something that I really want to do lined up, I think we'd stay here for a long time. I think it has its chance to overtake Palermo, because it's very on par with Palermo, but we're still 8 seasons behind the Palermo save. But for me, if I left it like this, we finished second this season. We haven't won a trophy. We've not won anything here. We've done nothing. But is that a good save? I don't know. I just think that we need to keep it alive, and I don't think we ever shut the door on Red Star.
Before you speak about the next venture, I need to ask, because this is bugging me.
Twice, I told you, I've just lost them twice.
No, after all the, you've done well, right? And you've brought them, as you said, all the way up the leagues. Are you listed on the club info page as any type of favourite personnel, icon, anything like that?
So,
don't say
for the last 5 seasons, we have broke records for everything in our club. Highest ever finish, highest points total, highest gate receipts, everything. And I am only on the favoured personnel.
That's killer.
That's
I'm not even there.
Well, you wouldn't be. You haven't managed Red Star, to be fair.
Such a chief.
There's a striker, Nathan Bissett, who played for Red Star all of 5 seasons. He scored 91 goals in 148 games. He starts at the club, and those 5 years were with me. And he is an icon at the club. We have a young Colombian that spent 3 seasons with us called Vinasco. He's an icon. He spent 3 seasons with us in the top league. He was all right, but he's classed as an icon. We have not a single legend.
Did they have 0 icons to start with? And
they had nothing, yeah.
Slim pickings anyway. Yeah.
Oh, no, they had 4. They had 4 ex-players that I haven't touched. And an old chairman. But yeah, I am the only favoured person now.
I'll be upset if I don't get it, depending on how many more years I go.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? I think we talked about it in the the network save, wasn't it, Dave? That we've all made positive we all made positive impacts on the club. Joe absolutely smashed the club. Yet, we were nowhere to be seen, right?
I think it's just if you play. I think it's so rare for someone to come into a club on this game and have a massive negative impact on a club. Like, in terms of league position, even I think if you're the most basic of players on FM, you should be able to improve where a club goes. Like, yeah, you might damage them financially, but surely league position wise, you'll get.
Yeah, you might absolutely burn them to the ground, but I mean, league position. But
like in terms of position, like growing as a club, like there's a lad I know, and some of the he's done well with Wolves. He's taken a very similar path to what I did on the Wolves save, right? But he showed me his finances. He was like minus 200 million. Like some of the contracts he was giving players were stupid. Like he was giving like the most average of players like 350 grand a week. I was like, what are you doing? Like sometimes people complain about like 10, 20 grand here and there. But like he was in the mud, but he done well like for the club in general. So I think everyone should be able to improve a club quite easily.
FFP is a myth.
Yeah,
but like, we've turned this club completely around. It's the first time I've gone into a club and I thought about the club as a whole and not just the first 11 or the squad. So normally when I play Football Manager, I'm just thinking about me, my team, maybe my backroom staff, and that's kind of it. But here, like we've bought a new stadium. We're now touching distance with PSG, like the stadiums, with the training facility. Like I've gone through it. Like we have like transformed this club, and like I started with zero, next to zero in the bank. We have a £60 million budget overall balance, and I've done all my transfer business. And it's like we are in such a good position, and you'd think that it's solely down to kind of my influence on the club. You kind of think that we'd be kind of statue. Do you want to make it out of bronze or gold? But nothing yet.
No one cares about you in France.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the motivation, Matt.
You're welcome. I just thought might as well. At least your expectations are lower now, so therefore, if they do make a statue, you'll keel over in delight.
Aye.
Something along those lines.
Well,
anyway, we were trying to segue about 10 minutes ago to the
40-minute pod.
To the next part of Well, no, to the next part of your save, but you've spaffed on for 20 minutes about France. So, America, MLS.
Yeah,
that's the next stage. I know you sort of seem to be clinging on in France, maybe reluctant to let go.
Yeah. Very much reluctant to let go, but we've got the MLS dream, Matt.
Well, yeah, you outlined your plans sort of for the entirety of Achievement Hunter and what you were going to do and where you were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the MLS part, what are the achievements that you're looking to target managing in America that you can't get elsewhere?
Well, the reason I want to go to MLS is because I've never managed MLS, right? I'm just going to highlight that. So it's a learning curve for me, but I just feel that you can kind of really build something in MLS. The standard, I'm sorry for any American listeners, isn't what it would be in some of the European leagues, right? From the outside in, looking in, right? So I feel there's some here, for example, I think that we could build a squad that would get some of the harder attributes, I'm going to say, than achievements. For example, conceding the least goals. I feel that we can set the team up and playing against not the world-class strikers that we will be playing against in France. We haven't got Mbappe in America, so that sort of thing. Domination. I feel that like once we get going and we build something in MLS, I mean, we are going to a team that won the whole of MLS last season, so it should be slightly easier for me. But, the domination of trying to win it 3 seasons in a row. And these are the sorts of ones I'd love to do the invincible one there, but that might be another save. The fifth one. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm looking for from America.
And who is you going to be in America?
So, as a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, a part-time Philadelphia lover, I'm going to go to Philadelphia Union, Matthew. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Philadelphia Union.
Tonight.
I don't know where that came from.
And the main reason is, I mean, I think we've probably mentioned it before when we've spoken about Achievement Hunter from the outset, but there is a particular reason why Philadelphia Union.
Is there?
I believe there is.
Oh, there is. Yes. Sorry. Wow. Yes. So Philadelphia Union have a few things that that kind of makes me quite happy. They use a song that reference my online persona's name quite a lot when they score, and the club's nickname is Dupe. Is it's kind of one of their nicknames that they use. So it kind of feels fitting that we're taking over them.
I thought you might go for a team called the Chiefs. Is there not a that's American football? Sorry.
Kinds of Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yes.
South Africa.
It's the wrong area.
Yeah.
Completely wrong area.
Chiefs.
Yeah, nice effort. GG.
Yeah, cheers.
But no, I think the thing is we're not in a crossroads. We're in a T-junction, Matthew. One way we go over to America and it's all going to be the land of hope and glory and all that jazz. The other is we stay in France for a little bit longer. The problem I've got is MLS starts this weekend IRL. And for me, it just thinks if we're going to go to MLS, it would be quite cool to kind of get into Philadelphia before the season starts IRL. You know me. I mean, I've been watching all the Red Star games as we've been going. I get so invested in the saves that we do. I surround myself in the club. And I feel that if I'm going to do this, the best time for me to do Philadelphia is literally now. It's just how I do that when I don't think Red Star's finished. Now I've had some...
Is there anything to stop you from doing them concurrently?
There's nothing that stops me from doing that apart from the fact that I don't know how I would do at doing that, if that makes sense. And if I'm loving one save more than the other and I'm loading up Philadelphia to play Philadelphia and I'm like, well, I want to be playing Red Star tonight instead, how that would affect me. But yes, I can't, that could be the answer, is that I do a couple of nights a week doing Philadelphia, a couple of nights a week doing Red Star. See, I've forgotten who they are now. And then a couple of nights just geoguessing. It'll be fine, right? But there's been loads of ideas that have been chucked to me. For example, another idea is that what we do is we go over to Philadelphia Union. We do however many seasons, which I'm kind of predicting 5 to 6 seasons in the MLS if we get that far. And then when we come back and we go to Red Star, we basically give our assistant manager 6 seasons simmed, and then we basically walk back into the job. So he's been like the caretaker for 6 years. I then walk back into the job at Red Star. It would then count towards the 30 season achievement. It's in the game. It's not a hack. It's not a cheat. And it kind of just builds the narrative that we've kind of been loaned to Philadelphia Union. We've come back and then we've got to kind of pick up the ruins of how he's left the club and see where we can take them again. And it could be the way that we kind of, instead of doing that 5th save at the end that I haven't picked, this could be the way that we kind of close the season off or the game off this year.
There's multiple ways to skin the proverbial cat.
Aye. Yeah, there is.
Well, we'll cut things off there, but I am intrigued to see how you do this, whichever way you decide to do it. I always struggle with running multiple saves at once. In fact, at the moment, I struggle playing one save at all. So I commend anything that you do if you're able to get them, especially as how invested you tend to get. It'll be quite difficult. I mean, you're streaming every hour you can at the moment anyway. So I think there's time in the schedule. It's just whether you can leave one loved one behind.
I left one love
shoot of another.
I was going to say I've left one love behind, and that's my wife for Red Star. I don't think I've got anyone else I can leave behind now. It'll be fine. Wake the kids up.
Again? Oh no, that's another Twitter bang.
Twitter bang, yeah.
Right, we'll move on to our spotlight then, gentlemen. So we'll start off with a quote from Michael Cox of The Athletic, referring to himself as a free 8 in Pep Guardiola's Manchester City 4-3-3. De Bruyne patrols a very specific zone in an inside right position. He is neither a central midfielder nor a wide midfielder, nor a midfielder, not an attacker. By occupying that half space, that channel, that corridor opponents struggled to contain, De Bruyne became the most prolific midfield creator the Premier League has witnessed, demonstrated by him last season, equalling Thierry Henry's record for assists in a single campaign with 20. And with that, gentlemen, begins this week's Spotlight. Have you ever retrained a player to get more out of him? Or have you retrained a player to suit your tactical system? All the questions, now it's your chance to provide me with said answers. So let's get kicked off, Mr. Mad FM.
Well, I just wanted to. You've just said De Bruyne became the most prolific midfield creator the Premier League has witnessed. It's a bit disrespectful to John Joe Shelby, no? I hope he's not listening. So.
Eric Jemba wants his membership back.
Boldford, no.
Fair enough.
I've only ever done it once. I've done it at Malaga, and I brought Murillo in, who normally played, at the time, he played out on the left-hand wing. And I remember speaking to Joe about it, saying that he's just not doing what I want him to do. I want him to be an inverted winger, but I want him to start inside more. So I decided to move him into central midfield and play more of an attacking role there. And I started retraining him into that, and he became a very good player. And I took full credit for that because Joe told me it would never work, and still to this day, I mention it when I can. But yeah, it's the only time I've ever done it, and I don't know whether it's because I've done it once, it worked, and I'm just like, right, I'm never touching that again because, you know, I don't. But I don't know. I think nowadays the scouting and the way that I do things is get other people to do it, and they just kind of tell me people to buy in certain places, and it's a lot easier to kind of just get a player that's ready-made. You know, when I was at Malaga, we got promoted and we weren't expected to do much, and I could probably risk playing the new player in a different position. But I just feel that people would just get upset nowadays. The players would just come to you and go, I don't want to play here. I'm a right back, not a striker.
I've done it successfully, at least. I've actually done it this year, but the most successful one I've done was, I can't remember what FM it was. Whenever I managed 1860 Munich, there was a Brazilian guy that used to play up front for them called Ribamar. He was an absolute beast for me. He was fantastic as a striker, and I think as we sort of grew as a team, I couldn't quite fit him in as a striker. But he's one of those players, like, he was too good just to sell or leave out. So I actually retrained him as an attacking left midfielder. Because he was good on the ball. He actually had pretty good crossing for a striker, and he was quick. And although he wasn't natural there, I just played him there consistently and trained him there. And within about half a season, he was comfortable in playing there, and turned out to be, throughout the majority of that series, my best left winger then. And he had no sort of comfortability there or suitability there at all when we first started. So that was quite good. That was probably my most successful retraining of a position. I've done it this year though on the journeyman save. We've got I signed a lad. Obviously, when you're at that level, it's quite difficult you can't really be picky with players. There's a guy called Kyron Lofthouse. Not a clue who he plays for in real life, if I'm honest, but I play a flat midfield 4, and he's only suited to play as an attacking midfield, right or left. So it's fairly, it's fairly basic. I've just trained him to play as a standard right midfielder, and he had, again, no comfortability there, but played him there a little bit now for about a season, and he's got, his sort of 2.5, 3 stars there now. So that one's not, it's not a complete change of position, but that's probably one of the other examples I've got of that one.
My big favourite is making anyone that closely resembles any of the attributes in any of the anywhere is a libero, basically. Yes. Regardless of where you play, I don't care if you fit. In fact, any defender I see with anything remotely close to fitting a libero's profile, they get trained as a libero, and it usually fails. I mean, some may remember the Jack Rodwell experiment that didn't go so well. That I'm blaming that on Jack, not on anything else. But yeah, it usually ends up being midfielders that seem to just about do it. Mosquito from FM17, he was the closest I got to getting it to work properly.
There's a name from the past.
He was like, the only thing was he was like 5'8", couldn't jump, but my God, driving forward, libero on attack. Oh, it was just filthy. Yeah, that's my weakness. I think sometimes I'll have the occasional player that maybe doesn't play, like maybe they play more in more of an advanced position, and I'll drop them back into midfield just so they're a bit more comfortable in the midfield strata rather than the attacking midfield strata. Or again, like if I want to try and, I think we've all had teams that we've inherited attacking midfielders and that can't really fit them into the tactic that we're currently playing, so you end up retraining them in a different role to fit them into midfield or elsewhere. But yeah, libero is my absolute weakness.
The libero. I think I actually wrote a little bit a while back about it, but I was in Angers. I was looking for a centre half, and this is probably season 4 or 5, so we're still kind of floating around top 6, 5. So the interested players, when you're scouting, and I was like looking for centre halves, slightly interested, even unsure, and there was very little available. So I kind of just went about a different way and just went in and said, right, let's see if there's any players out there just with some decent attributes, regardless of position or anything like that. And it was a Nugent actually at PSG that popped up, who was getting no game time. And he had the tackling, he had the positioning, bravery, all that kind of stuff. But just positionally was down as a box-to-box midfielder. No familiarity whatsoever with the centre half. So I've actually gone and I went and bought him. It was the first time I'd ever bought to retrain. I think I got him for about 7 million. And just put him straight on a retraining kind of a regime as a centre half. Put him in the reserves and kind of got him interview friendlies and playing. I think all in all about 9 months until I got the green circle in the centre half position, and ever since he's still there now, centre back, quality ball playing defender, and he's definitely. I reckon capped for France. If I have a chance of getting someone capped for France, it could be him, but that also could be because I'm hoping to get the France job. But look, that's besides the point.
Won it all by bloody cheating. You mentioned about buying to retrain. I kind of did that with Nnamdi Collins in the Bournemouth save. Like David looked at him. I was looking at him at pretty much at the same time. Yeah. And I thought, he's the only thing actually that's actually got me rethinking about it was the looking at how he develops from the screenshot in the Dub to the Next Lothar Matthäus
great article
blog. Yeah, it was too well done. But I didn't realise how well he developed as a centre half, because I pretty much, when I saw him initially, bear in mind this is him at 18, I thought I'm not convinced he's going to be good enough at centre half, but he's rapid and so therefore will do an excellent job as a more defensively minded fullback. So that's what I signed him as, and actually seeing those screenshots has kind of changed my mindset on that, and maybe sort of training him out to play as a fullback rather than centre half is maybe going to make him a weaker player as a result. But I guess the alternative to that is maybe getting like a midfielder and then switching them to a right back. There's plenty of real life examples of players changing position. Like you think about James Milner, the utility man extraordinaire. Philip Neville started at centre mid, moved to right back, moved back to centre mid when he moved to Everton. There's loads of examples of this sort of thing, and I think central midfielders do tend to be those players that are mouldable depending on how you're intending to play, because they tend to be they're a jack of all trades. They can cover most sorts of positions like that.
You've just triggered something in my mind there. Do you know what they don't make anymore? Strikers who can play as defenders. Gary Doherty, Dion Dublin, Championship manager.
Chris Sutton, Paul Warhurst. There are others, but Gary Doherty is a forgotten one.
I'm pretty sure one of my strikers, my new gen Wonder Kids, will play right back, by the way. Just as a thing. So maybe I should retrain him just for experimental purposes.
Inverted striker back.
Didn't Heskey played centre half, didn't he, for Bolton as well, towards the end of his career?
Did he?
He's played up front like a centre half.
Yeah. No, he definitely played centre half for him. Yeah.
He was just playing the wrong way around. He went the wrong direction.
He just couldn't run at the end of his career, though, could he?
Oh, you got me thinking now. I'm trying to think of any. There did used to be a goalkeeper on CM0102 who was Swedish who had goalkeeper striker.
Oh,
I think that's the weirdest one. I'd need to find him, but it definitely existed. So yeah, that was.
I guess
that's probably the most radical of those. David James probably kind of covers that, maybe.
One of the most commons you see of like versatility is the kind of the right back centre mid, the left back centre mid with the inverted wing backs and that. But where would you say that? I mean, this is a bit of a silly question, really, but I mean, the only kind of place I could ever see retraining somebody is from somebody out wide that's creative into the middle, to be more creative in the middle. You talked about your defender and retraining him as a defender. What is it that you're looking for when you're looking to retrain him? Is it just the attributes in that area, or is it that you feel that, for example, when Marilla was nothing to do with attributes. It was just the fact that I liked what he did. I just wanted him more centralized, so that's why we dropped him in. And it was more of a visual thing. But are you more looking at the attributes for when you did yours, or are you looking at how it looks in the match engine?
I looked into
roundabout way. That was open to everyone, by the way. So.
I did a little bit of a look at it when I was doing it. I wrote a few words on it, and it was kind of there used to be an adaptability attribute for players back in. I don't know at what point it disappeared. I think it's a hidden attribute now, and I think when you used to be able to see that, and Matt's probably racking the back of his brain to think about but it was definitely there in the Chapman days anyway, and I think that would help. But you can't see it anymore. So you kind of, for me, I was like starting to look at other things, in terms of the personality, the work rate, and things like that. Just, you want someone who can train well because they follow orders and do what you want them to do, right? And then ultimately, I look at attributes, physicality, height, and so on, depending on where you want to play them.
I thought adaptability was the ability to play in other countries and settle in other countries. I didn't. I never associated it with retraining in positions, I must admit.
Then I think so. That it can change. Like, I don't know if they've changed it over the years. Like, they've sort of, with certain attributes, they've either clarified or even adjusted what it actually does. So it could well have been in the past. I don't know, in all honesty. And also, it's one of those placebo things that maybe there is a little bit of something there. You've seen something that's worked for you in the past. I don't. Oh, maybe it's one thing for staff, one thing for players.
I was just going to say, you can only see it on staff now, right? Because that's it.
It's a hidden attribute for players, but actually, I think it is actually having been in the editor a fair amount for Showdown stuff. I think it's actually shown under like the staff attributes. Rather, as in when you set up a person in the database, it comes up under staff rather than players. I may be wrong, and I may be getting mixed up because I've done a fair amount of both recently. Maybe someone listening to this right now can clarify, but I'm quite sure it's.
If only we had an FM researcher that knew, because I don't.
If only.
I don't.
To be fair, it is question one of the quiz. So.
Time to go. Dave's had his walking papers from SI now.
The NDA.
Which one? Don't sign any of them. Okay, so we'll move on to the actual 3-8 role, as we sort of focused quite a lot of that in the intro. I guess some of you may not be so familiar with it. It's more of a recent thing that the media has latched onto, much like they did the false 9 role many moons ago when Messi started dropping deeper from at least a starting position that seemed to resemble a striker. But how would you go about trying to recreate how De Bruyne plays for City currently. I mean, when he does play, when he's not throwing a hissy fit when he's left on the bench.
Without it obviously being a role, which, you know, we probably FM22 now, they'll probably make the 3-8 a role somehow, but it's probably more like a Mazzali, you could say. I don't know. That's probably the one role you'd look at, maybe. I mean, I had a quick look. Obviously, when I knew we were talking about it, I had a quick look. If you actually search the role, the first thing that comes up is a Football Manager thread on the forums about it. Because it's been around. It's a phrase I've never heard before, to be fair, but it seems like it's been around for a couple of years. Because a couple of people are talking about it on FM19, FM20. But it sounds like, it looks like probably a Mazzala is that sort of role, and I think that would suit De Bruyne, especially in game, quite well, really.
I'd almost be tempted to just try and adapt to a central midfield support role.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
It's kind of, you know, it's the one role that still is very, very pliable in terms of, you know, how many of the options are open. In fact, I think most of them are open for a central midfield support. So, you know, have him like that, maybe have him roaming from his position, moving into channels, taking more risks with his passing. You know, aside from having him as a playmaker, I think, yeah, maybe adapting the CM support role and then letting him use his own personal traits, kind of giving him free rein to kind of do what he wants. But I think that would be where I'd start.
Yeah, I guess because if you are using the Mazzali, there are a lot of things already locked in that you can't change. So yeah, I guess the other thing is player traits, because there are some things that you just can't get a player to do, regardless of what PIs you assign them. So are there any player traits that we'd look to get the movement right? Because I think that's perhaps the thing that we would struggle to get. Like maybe, particularly if using either example, whether it be the central midfielder on support or Mazzala on support or attack, the one thing you are going to lose is neither are a playmaking role. So if you want everything to go through them, you'd need to consider a player trait that is likely to get them to control a game.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, when Curtin mentioned the traits, I know we've spoke about it quite a lot this year, I'd say, probably more than we have done previously. And to be honest, I think, for me, I probably don't look at them enough, but I think they're such an underrated part of the game when you're trying to get more out of a player or a role. I think there's definitely more people should be doing with those. And I think there's more they can add to the game as well. I mean, we had a discussion a few weeks ago, or probably months ago now, about the long throws, whether they should just get rid of that as an attribute and have that as a trait. So I think there's more they can add to that. But in terms of what you said there, Matt, maybe, you know, likes to dictate the tempo of the game, just stuff like that, just to obviously allow that player to sort of control that game a little bit more. But there's so many of those on the ball that, you know, that you can add to that game. I mean, I'm probably not as clued up as some of you guys are. Even as a researcher, I don't even know much of the traits.
I know you're going to jump in, Mad, but roaming playmaker might be the one.
Yeah.
That's got move. It's got it can move the player into channels. It's got roam from position. Take more risks is sort of factored in as well. So
you never see people use that role though, do you? It's such a rare role. I used that a few years ago. It's great fun to use, but you'd very rarely see people use that.
I think I used it in FM18 on my Forest save.
Yeah.
And I sort of created an overload on one side of the pitch, and the roaming playmaker was on kind of the left midfielder in the 4-2-3-1.
That could be the one.
So a lot went through him, and it was great. But I don't think I've used it since. Like you say, you very rarely see it.
Yeah.
The closest thing in my mind with what I'm doing is I've got Theo Zidane as a Mezzala, and he's like spectacular passing and vision and that. So I've really, like, in terms of the traits, I think it's like tries killer balls more often, which is kind of like that risky kind of passing mentality. And when he gets it right with Amin Guri at the top with the off the ball, it's beautiful to watch. And then just really focusing on the shots. He's got really good long shots, so it's like shoots from distance. I think there's one that's like shoots first time. I know you can do an instruction for, shoot often, but there is a trait for shoots first time as well. So because when you're watching it in the 3D and you're like, you see the ball coming, you're like, just shoot straight away. That seems to help to just get that shot, crack off that shot straight away.
Yeah, I think I'd also be looking maybe at coming deep to get the ball to make sure that he's involving himself in play, especially if you're building out from the back. But also a really good trait, certainly for a playmaker that I've found, or someone with decent passing range, is switching the ball to the other flank. Because that's great, for someone that might sort of hold up the play, and playmakers naturally hold up the play, but with one pass, if they can ping the ball to the other flank, then all of a sudden you've got potential for a quick attack on the other side. So yeah,
I think really it's kind of hard to replicate it properly because of the position that is occupied. It's kind of an old school, like inside right I know inside forwards have become sort of popular again over the past 10 years, but inside right is a very much an old old part of the WM formation from the 50s, and it's a position that is kind of hard to get to work in FM. And obviously you are setting up the formations in FM are the defensive formation. But the starting position, getting that right is going to be hard, and I think it's a case of sort of square pegging, round holding it to get something to look close to it, but you'll never get it right unless it's actually added as a role for it to actually work correctly. And I mean, you could argue, like, I think any of the suggestions that sort of be proposed could work with concessions made for the parts that don't quite adequately fulfill that. I mean, you could even maybe argue that wide playmaker could work there in some situations because of their natural movement. Like, unless they're defending, they defend wide, but attacking wise, they sit in that inside forward spot and they'll pretty much dribble across the entirety of the pitch, depending on whether you're using support or attack. Probably, I'd say more attack would be more fitting and would certainly move them more into that inside forward area, but that's only part of the role. And I guess that's probably the entire problem with this, is that it's such a loose role that actually trying to define it as one particular thing, in essence, kind of goes against what the movement that De Bruyne brings to the role. Actually, that is the definition of the role. It's a completely loose, unentangled role from almost the rest of the structure of a team, and it's hard to nail down. But and I guess so, like, trying to code that will be great fun for someone to make sure that actually doesn't become stupidly overpowered. But I think that can round off our chat on that, because we do have a quiz from a certain Mad FM this time round. It's time for the quiz.
We're going to try to hopefully not have a quiz as long. I mean, it would help if you got the answers quicker, lads, but we'll try not to have such a long quiz. It was
a good quiz last time.
It was a good test. So this week, I suppose we saw... Now, Dupe, just remember, this is a family podcast, okay? But this week's quiz is dedicated to teenagers or teenage footballers. And we've, in a week where we saw Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham scoring, obviously, in the Champions League, I have a list in front of me of the top 15 teenage transfers based on fees. So the most expensive.
By nonce.
He likes this.
Steady on.
After his little thing, he likes this. That sounds really bad, actually. I didn't mean it like that. I meant the Twitch clip.
So I have the top 15 most expensive teenagers based on transfer fees in the world.
I'm not being rude here. Did you say 50 or 15?
15.
Okay.
I'll say 50. Fuck me.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just the way. It was the way that he said it. I think it's the thing, right?
It's the accent, Dupe. Sorry, easy Welsh.
Aye.
So I have 15 of the top 15 most expensive teenage football players in history. And I need you to guess them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start by going around to each of you one by one, to give you a chance to just, you just have to guess one of the top 15. You get it right, you get a point. After about 3 rounds, I expect you to probably start struggling, and then we'll go, shout your name in you come to shout it out. If you get stuck, I'll think about clues. There's some interesting names on here, and it's all time, right? Feeling confident,
Yeah.
Dave, as the only teenage footballer in the room, feeling confident.
Me.
He's
I'm
not a
24.
teenage yet. He's only 12.
I'm only 12.
Right. Okay. So we'll go as I'm looking at you on screen, which probably is just alphabetical, which means Matt, you're just screwed every time I do a quiz. So we'll start with Curty. So basically, Curty, you just have to name any one of the top 15 for a point, and then we'll move on to the next one. Thinking about your opponents here as well. So when you're ready, Curty, off you go.
Sorry, just before we start.
Yes.
So can I? Is this what at the time they were signed, or does this have to be the current? Like, so if they were signed as a teenager, no.
Oh.
It's just that if they were signed as a teenager for X amount, is that?
Yeah, it's the amount they were signed for when they were a teenager. I'm not really going on the route of inflation. It's really just the fee. Look, my source is the internet, so take from that what you will.
That's fine.
My word is final.
Clarify that.
I do have the pound and euro amount close enough because I expect controversy, and Dupe will have the calculator out. So we'll do our best.
He's got your website. He's got your website.
He's coming after me. Just remember that apology you did at the start.
I'm doing this all night now. I'm doing
the Mbappe.
It's alright you're doing that if you've got it up on the screen already.
How am I scrolling down?
Go on, carry on, Matt. So.
Okay,
You've got
so
a vertical monitor, son.
I'm doing this. Fuck it.
He goes back to the camera.
That's like that goalkeeper in Super Club Soccer. The last.
We're giving Curty a chance to think here.
Yeah,
true.
far too many.
I mean, think surely he knows.
He can get one, Curty. Right, let's go, Curty. Give us a player.
Rooney.
Wayne Rooney is correct. I'm not going to tell you where he is in the list. Moved from Everton to Man United in 2004 for £30 million.
I mean, that's a bold one to start with.
Point for Curty. Over to
I
you,
like
Dave.
that.
I know he went for 30 million, so I was like,
There's only one.
surely.
There's only one we start with here, Mad. Fabio Silva.
Fabio Silva. From Porto to Wolves for a reported £35 million or €40 million, aged 18. Correct. Dupe.
Kylian Mbappe.
Kylian Mbappe. £150 million or €180 million apparently. Aged 18, moving from Monaco to PSG in 2017. Correct. Matthew.
Looks like he's having a stroke.
What type
Not
of
the
stroke?
good kind.
Who, me or Mbappe? Yeah.
Look, he's got him written on the ceiling. Look at him.
I'm going to go for Mr. Bellingham.
Mr. Bellingham.
Is he on there?
Just makes the list.
Oh, the
I didn't
pressure.
think that much, actually.
Just makes the list for the £25 million fee.
Yeah.
Age 17 from Birmingham to Dortmund. Just about makes it. So there's a little clue for you there, lads. Carty.
Me again. Martial?
Good guess.
Ooh,
That's on my list.
Anthony Martial.
the list.
Can you send
He's
me the link
correct.
to your list?
Yeah.
50 million down the drain. That's the
50
song.
million in 2015 from Monaco to Man United, aged 19.
50 million down the drain. It's the song they sing.
David.
There's one in my mind. I don't know if this could bite me on the arse. I'm going to go with quite a niche one. Vinicius Jr.
Oh, that was going to be my other one.
I mean,
Vinicius Jr.
I can't believe you're screwing your face up. There's some really easy ones that no one's touched yet.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Like these ones, I don't know. Like even Bellingham, I thought, did they sign him for about 15 million, or was it that much? And that's why I'm thinking of the Vinicius one. Come on, Matt, tell me.
Vinicius Jr. 38 million.
Come on, up the Wolves.
From Flamengo to Real Madrid in 2018. That's correct. Point for Dave.
Matt, I'm going to go for João Felix.
João Felix.
Oh, fucking hell.
I've gone for Mbappe and João Felix. They're the two most expensive, so I'll take those.
126 million euros.
Yeah.
It was João Felix in 2019. Correct.
Thank you.
Matthew.
Delict.
Oh,
shout.
my next one.
Is he a teenager?
But he's
like
still
18,
19 now, I think.
Still a teenager now, isn't he?
He's 21, isn't he now?
In
He's young.
2019, he was 19, and he moved from Ajax to Juventus for 68 million pounds, or 80 million euros. So it's correct.
Now I'm screwed.
Full marks so far for everybody.
Keep going round. It's better
Dave,
that
as
way.
a party, I'll give you another round, and then we can go to the
We'll see.
fastest first.
Who's next?
You,
Innit?
Dave.
No, Curry's got to go, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Curry.
No, I got a point, didn't I?
For what? It's
Shut up,
Curry,
then.
man.
It's such a...
You're so shit at lying, by the way. You're so crap.
You.
He's right. Sorry, you're right. It's Carty.
I don't know if it was enough. Dave's mate, Portuguese kid.
Fabio Silva.
No, he's fucking. Oh, what's his name? He was in the squad. Renato Sanchez.
Renato Sanchez, aka Dave's mate.
Why is he
Dave's mate?
He's Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Me and Cristiano,
That's
good
what it
lads as well.
So Renato Sanchez moved from Benfica to Bayern in 2016 for 35 million euros, which puts him in the top 15, and it's a point for Curty. Well done.
Wow, what a shout.
That's a big shout. It's a really big shout.
David.
I'm in trouble now.
Rio Ferdinand.
Rio Ferdinand is incorrect. Not in the list.
Was he?
Don't think he
How
was a
old was he when he
teenager.
went to United? I don't know what.
I'm going to turn to
23?
Duke.
Oh, I thought he was
Definitely
18 for some
20.
reason. I've had a
That's
Western
23.
Super there. Took a big
Now, I'm
gamble.
not sure on this one, so I'm not as cocky. But I'm going to go for United,
Fuck's sake.
and I'm going to go for... No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Luke Shaw.
Hey,
Luke Shaw. 2014, Southampton to Man United. £31 million. Correct. Aged 18. Well done, Duke. It's a point.
It's my last...
Luke Shaw. That's mental.
Luke Shaw.
I don't remember it being that much.
We paid a lot of money for him, because he came in, he played amazing, and then broke his leg, and then got fat, and then Mourinho upset him.
Thanks for that biography.
As it happens.
I wrote his book. That was it. Do you want to voice it?
Picture book.
Crayons.
Go on, Matt.
Oh. I don't know if we've had this one already. We might have had it already. Fuck. We've had Vinicius Jr., haven't we?
We have.
I know what you're thinking. I can't think the fucker's name. That's my problem. You're saying the other one, Matt, ain't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to remember his
Can't remember what his
name.
fucking name is.
The other one.
I can't. And it's
Yeah. Okay, I got it. If he gets it wrong, I can buzz in, Matt. Yeah.
Showdown bargain guy.
Yeah.
Lalujo.
Fox. No,
Oh.
not that one.
Oh, I think I know who you mean.
Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
What? Who are you? Oh.
That's who I was
Oh,
thinking.
well, you're waiting to see in a minute.
I would say
That's what
your
I
answers,
was trying
yeah.
to see if you were gonna.
So, Rodrigo, in 2019, moved from Santos to Real Madrid for 50 million euros. Correct. That's a point, Matthew. Well done. Back to... Okay, so that's 3 rounds.
I reckon you go around again.
I'm done now. I'm done.
You want me to
now.
go around again?
Yeah, just go around again, because it puts
No.
some pressure on. It's good.
No,
Okay.
don't. Let's not do
Don't
that.
go round again.
Don't let dupe lead you on, you dopey dick.
Okay, dope.
The crowd has spoken. I heard Curty didn't want to go round either. So, yeah, we'll go fastest first. And Duke has shouted.
Yeah, dope. Yeah, okay.
Go
Is
on,
that
Duke.
me? What's one, Curry?
Nothing. I'm just waiting.
Shit, I didn't think it was going to... I thought it was going to go around. I thought I have time. I'm going to go for... I don't know if he's under the age, though.
Okay,
I'm going to go
come
for
on, this is
Moist
ridiculous.
Keane.
He's on
Oh,
your
fuck off, dude.
he's
That's
on
who
your
I was
list.
going for.
He's on your
my
list
hands
there.
are here. Literally, look, they're here.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think.
That was the
word.
showdown
I'm
bargain
trying to-
guy.
Keane.
I'm trying to work out how young he is.
So is that your answer, Duke?
He's like
Because,
12. Of course, that's
He's not 12.
this is bullshit. I'm not having
He's
this.
13.
Fucking someone's woke up. Fuck me, I prefer when you were asleep. Yes, Moise Keane, please, Mad.
So Moise Keane,
Well, he's not even in.
2019, moving from Juventus to Everton, according to my sources, is the same as Jude Bellingham, which was 30 million euros. So you get the point. Correct.
I thought he was more than that. I thought they paid a lot of money for him.
I'm done now. I don't know any.
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
So
How
if
many
you start
got
to
left?
struggle,
How many
we
got
can
left?
we can bring the clues in. So you've got 3, 6, 9. There's 12 done. So we have. I think we have 3
Three left.
We have 2 on the edge. So we have 2 on the kind of 15, 16 mark. So there is.
They're going to be
4,
old ones, I
there's,
reckon.
there's actually 4 players you haven't guessed, and I'll be happy to drop some clues.
I reckon they're going to be
There's no
old ones.
shouts.
Duke's got the list, so he can probably just make it quicker.
Jealousy is a fucking horrible thing, Kurt. It don't suit you, mate. Neither does that fucking haircut.
What I can do is I'm gonna drop a clue or 2.
Yeah, go on now.
So I'm gonna start, and I'll name a selling club to help you along the way. So the highest one on the list that you've missed came from Sao Paulo in 2013.
Nerd.
Nerd.
Neymar.
No.
No,
In-
fuck's sake.
incorrect.
No, wrong fucking team, you dopey twat.
Incorrect. We've no Viking
Oh
downloads here.
my
Was-
I
God.
thought Neymar, but he's
Kurt-
like 21.
Curty,
And also, it's
30.
not Sao Paulo.
was the buying... Oh, shit, you probably won't tell me, will you? Was the buying team PSG?
The guess is free, you know.
Yeah, just you're not going to lose anything.
Just have a shout.
Marquinhos?
So this is interesting. Marquinhos moved from Roma to PSG in 2013
He knows his
for
shit.
32 million euros. So it gets you a point.
But it's
But
not
it
the
was
one you
not-
were talking about.
Not the
Dave.
one attached to the clue. Dave.
It's not Malcolm, is it?
It is not Malcolm, incorrect.
Curty.
Gertie.
It's not Brian, is it?
Who?
I'm just thinking of shit name.
Yeah. Malcolm.
Not
Incorrect.
Chris,
no.
is it?
The Keith? No.
You have to give us another cue, Mad.
I'm going to give you the buying club for that guess. It
Yeah.
was in fact PSG. So from Sao Paulo to PSG in 2013. This one surprised me a little bit as well. And he currently plays in the Premier League.
Dave.
Dave.
Lucas Moura.
Oh,
Lucas Moura.
Yes. Come on now.
Good
40
pick.
million euros from Sao Paulo
Wow.
to PSG. Puts
Wow.
him in the
Good-
top 10.
Good pick.
I can't
Next.
believe I said fucking Neymar.
So I've got 2 more.
North Star.
Neymar North Star. 2 more to go. So, this player left Porto in 2007. Aged 19.
– 2007.
In
How
2007.
long's that ago?
Left
15
Porto
years.
for England in 2007. The confused faces on my screen.
You're not going to tell me. I'm going to do a curtain. You're not going to tell me the buying club, are you? No, he didn't come from Porto. Or did he?
No, no. Oh, fuck it. No,
It's excruciating
I don't
to
think it is.
watch you, nerd. You're just no, yes, no, yes,
Okay,
no.
there's so many players that it could be, and I.
In 07. You guessing, Matt?
Think- Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I think he's
If you-
he's too old.
Charisma.
No, I wasn't gonna. No, I'm gonna go. I was gonna go Moreles, but he's too
Shout.
old. It was too old.
Nah.
It's not Moreles, no. Too old, I would say.
Right,
Another
we all,
clue. Another clue.
yeah.
I'll give you the buying club. Manchester United.
Who? I didn't think he'd come from Porto. Anderson, the Brazilian.
Shout.
Anderson is the correct answer.
What did you say?
I genuinely didn't know he'd
then?
come from Porto, but fucking hell.
31 million, according to the internet.
In
And
2007?
the last one. Yeah.
That's mad.
A lot of money.
Yeah. Fair play. He did well.
And the last one of the top 15. In 2019. Left Saint Etienne.
Dave.
Dave?
It's not Fafana, is it?
Oh,
No, I know it is.
dude. They loaned him fucking back. The big guy. William.
Dave.
Hang on.
Come on.
William.
to get?
Fucking
2,
Sel.
1.
Selbia.
Dave.
Selbia.
Goes on off for...
Dave.
William
Saliba.
Fucking
Saliba.
Get in there.
Never heard of him.
They literally loaned him straight back.
William
didn't they?
Saliba, he's 31 million as well. In 2019, they loaned him straight
Signed
back,
him.
correct.
Right.
That was good going, lads. I think you only missed one on the when we were going around the turns. So, we'll give you scores on the doors. In third place, out on his own, is Matt with 3. In joint second place, we have
90s.
Curty and Dave on 4.
90s.
And out on his own with 5 points to win the quiz, it's Dupe. FM Dupe.
Mad, thanks for sending me the questions again, mate.
You're welcome, yeah.
Rio
did it
Ferdinand
last
cost
week.
me.
Rio Ferdinand was costly, yes.
How old was Rio when he went, though?
It's like 23, that's it.
Because he was a lot older.
I don't know why I thought he was 18. I had a Western.
I'm looking at it now.
Because he went West Ham to Leeds, then he went Leeds to United, and that would have been the big one.
Sorry, boys. I'll let you.
You weren't even born then, Dave.
I wasn't.
He went to he went to Leeds for 18 million, didn't he? But I don't know.
29, wasn't it, for United?
Sorry.
Yeah, like 29
I
or
knew it was
30.
that. I had a Western.
So-
I'm sorry.
All right. Good quiz again, then, Mad.
That's
I like
right.
those thinking ones.
I was going to stretch. I was going to stretch it to 20 just for Matt, because there is a player who left Blackburn for 17 million pounds and makes the top 20.
David Bentley.
Where did he go?
He went to Manchester United.
Phil Jones.
Philip Jones.
Chris Smalling.
Do you know he's come back today? He was in like the training squad today. He hasn't played in about 7 years. Can't wait.
Ferdinand was 23 when he moved. Just checked. Had quick maths / not so quick maths.
Like, there's some really good players that went, and they must have been a lot cheaper then. Because, okay, we'll never know.
Name a more iconic duo than Mad and fucking awful internet.
It's good until it drops, and then it just comes back up.
That's the same as like waiters. They're good until they drop plates.
So how much did Haaland go for? He must have been close.
It was 20 million euros. He's number 20 on my list. Yeah.
Oh, he was going to go. He was. I was going to answer
I
him.
did nearly say it myself as well.
The other
Anyway,
two would have
gents.
been Sergio Ramos and Antonio Cassano. That would have rounded out the top 20.
Ooh,
Cassano.
Cassano
Ramos.
was 25 million euros in 2001.
Bari to
Milan,
Roma.
Roma.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right, gents. Well, that does bring episode 191 to a close. We're still doing the
still
podcast.
recording.
I know.
You're normally asleep by now, though, Katie, to be fair.
That is true. Yeah.
happened once.
Well, fortunately, for those of you that that have remembered that we are still doing a podcast, you can find the links for each of us, the 5-Star Pod Twitter account and WeStream FM Discord server in the podcast description, or by visiting WeStreamFM.com, where you can find English Abroad, a new blog post taking a look at how the English fare abroad in Football Manager, as well as episode 10 of our Dubbed the Next series, which focuses on the non-Flying Dutchman, Dennis Bergkamp. 5-Star Potential is available on iTunes, Spotify, and most other popular podcast apps and platforms, with a new podcast released every week. Thank you all for listening. There'll be more from us next week. Say goodbye, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.